welcome to this course on how to get the fastest shutter speed for whatever level of light you are in. But how do you recognize a photo that has been taken with a fast shutter speed? Well, here's a comparison that will show you. In this shot here, we have an extremely fast shutter speed of 1/4000 of a second. So this is the shutter speed that I chose, the photographer chose. And we have the car, which was moving at about 30 miles an hour, 50 kilometers an hour on the road, and it's just frozen, pin sharp. Now, everything is frozen in the shot itself, in the background here, the road here. So in a sense, it's actually very hard to see a shot where everything has been frozen, including the movement, if the shutter speed is fast enough. But we use kind of, logic and common sense. This car is on a road, so it's likely to be moving fast. We don't see cars parked like that on a public road. Now, if we go and have a look at the subsequent shot here, which is at a shutter speed more like what the camera would have chosen if left to its own devices, and this is 1/125th of a second. So in this image here, everything is just completely different. Blurred wheels, blurred body on the car itself, but the background is sharp and the foreground is sharp. Now, the aperture of f8 is what's helping make that happen in terms of depth of field, but in terms of the shot itself, essentially things which are not moving are not affected by a shutter speed. Just that's it, they're not. If you've got an earthquake going on, at some point you're going to have a shutter speed that will capture that, but essentially that's it. So in this shot here, the shutter speed of 1/125th of a second is not enough for the camera to capture the movement of that car at 30 miles an hour, 40, 50 kilometers per hour. 1/4000 of a second is enough to freeze almost anything you would ever come up against in your normal daily life, unless you happen to be by a rocket launch pad and something's going flying up into the air. Now, the cameras try not to give us those fast shutter speeds simply because there's a danger of putting the camera under pressure, in that the aperture may not be the best one or the ISO might be too high. So we have to go in and take control of the camera itself in a mode which allows us to do that. We're going to look at program mode here. We're going to look at aperture priority mode, which seems to be counterintuitive, but we'll talk about that as we come up to that module in 3 modules time. So basically, I have an aperture of 7.1. I have ISO 1600. And that's what's giving me the 1/4000 of a second. In the subsequent shot of 1/125th of a second, f8, only 1/3 of a stop, no significant difference there whatsoever. And the ISO at only 100 means I'm only getting 1/125th of a second. And that's on a bright sunny day. So the camera doesn't know what we're shooting. It just simply doesn't. At some point, I presume AI is going to say, hey, we think we know what you're shooting. Why don't we give you these settings? And at that point, you're probably not even going to get out of bed because the camera will go off and do it for you. But at the moment, you have to make those decisions. Now, fast shutter speeds, they need a lot of light. So unless you're shooting on a bright sunny day, you are going to have to take control of apertures and ISO to bring enough of it into the camera. In this course, I'm going to show you how to do all of that.